Hey, what is up beautiful people? I'm here to bring you a build that has even become stronger with Solar 3.0 coming out. If you've ever had that fire mage fantasy, then I'm here to bring it to life. You're going to be burning, exploding, healing, and getting a 50% damage boost for free. Let's get straight into it. Stat-wise, we are going to be aiming for 100 recovery, and then feel free to put the stats in whatever you prefer. Now I like to keep them in resilience and strength, just to have that melee a little bit faster. When it comes to your super, it is personal preference, guys. You can use either one. For your abilities, we are going to be starting with Phoenix Dive. This was added in Solar 3.0. It basically gives you the Hunter Dive ability, but it also heals you and your allies, as well as damages enemies as you land on the ground. Once again, this is also personal preference, so feel free to use either of the three. I'm going to be going into detail when it comes to these two melees, because I feel like that's a very important part about this build. With Incinerator Snap, you shoot out 5 fireballs right in front of you, but with a very short range. Now, those fireballs create a Scorch effect on the target that they hit. As you can see, Scorch is a new Solar 3.0 debuff. What Scorch does is that whenever that target hits an X amount of stacks, of Scorch stacks, the target will explode. It will create an ignition, which is basically an explosion. Now that explosion deals a very good amount of damage. Now, in order for you to proc the ignition, you have to hit 4 out of the 5 fireballs that this Incinerator Snap shoots. Now, it's not easy to hit 4 out of 5, especially with a short range. However, if you do manage to hit 4 or 5 of these, it pretty much doubles the damage of Celestial Fire. But once again, the disadvantage being that it's very short range, as you can see. Now, I found Celestial Fire a lot more consistent when it comes to proccing your Sunbracers. Not only this has almost infinite range, as you can see, but also 99% of the time, the 3 fireballs that you shoot out are going to hit one target, meaning you're almost guaranteed to kill him and proc the Sunbracers. So not only this allows you to play a lot safer, but you can also proc it while flying in the air or being further away from your targets. Now, once again, they're both good, but for more consistent procs, you definitely want to use Celestial Fire. However, with this build, you're pretty much going to be able to use either one, so just use the one that you like the most. And of course, for our grenade, we have to use the Solar Grenade, which also applies Scorched, which once it hits a specific threshold, it'll make the target ignite and explode. For our aspects, we are going to be using Heat Rises. This allows us to shoot, throw melees and grenades while gliding, and you can also consume your grenade and get the Heat Rises buff. Now, we are mainly using this because final blows while being in the air are gonna give us a very big chunk of melee energy. This means that if we miss our combo and we happen to lose our melee, all we have to do is just jump up, fly for a second or two, throw a grenade or shoot at the target while you are in the air, and then you're pretty much gonna get your melee back instantly. For our second aspect, we are using Touch of Flame. Now this is going to improve our grenade, and it's going to give it a longer duration, as well as it's going to be spitting out blobs of lava all around it, which is pretty insane because once you throw 4 or 5 grenades, you can see blobs of lava all over the place. Now, as for fragments, we are using Ember of Wonder, which is going to create orbs of powers for free as long as we get kills with the ignition, which is kind of insane because we are going to be creating those explosions everywhere. Second fragment is going to be Ember of Torches, which is going to give us the radiant buff whenever we hit a target with our melee, which is going to be pretty much all the time because we are going to be spamming our melee with this build. What radiant does, it gives you a 25% damage boost to all your weapons. This is also going to make our allies radiant, also giving them that 25% boost. Next up, we have Ember of Eruption. Now this is further gonna synergize with our ignitions and our explosions by increasing the area of effect of the explosion. And lastly, we have Ember of Ashes, which is gonna allow us to apply more Scorch stacks to a target, which in turn are going to make the target explode faster. Moving on to the mods, on our helmet we are going to be using Well of Life. This is going to give us a nice and constant heal for a couple of seconds whenever we pick up a solar well. Combine that with double access to assets because we are going to be spamming grenades everywhere, and this is going to help us get our super much faster. You can always swap one of these for an ammo finder of your choice. Now, if you do not have the mod Elemental Time Dilation, then make sure you swap this out for Bountiful Wells instead. I will explain why later in the video. Our exotic of choice is going to be the Sunbracers. This exotic was pretty fun to play around when it comes to last season. It wasn't really meta, but it was still a very viable exotic for easier content. With Solar 3.0, this exotic just became top tier. And honestly, I can even see this being used in harder content. Now, I wouldn't recommend taking this into Grandmasters, but I definitely can see this being used in master content like master nightfalls. What the Sunbracers do is that whenever we get a kill with our charged melee, it gives us infinite grenades for the next 5 seconds. A little neat trick that you can do is throwing your grenade before using your melee and activating the Sunbracers. We are going to be using Elemental Ordnance. That's going to spawn a Solar Elemental well whenever we get a kill with our grenade. And we are pairing this with Momentum Transfer, which is going to reduce our melee cooldown whenever we cause damage with our grenade. Now, this is not necessary. Feel free to swap these out for your champion mods. This is just a little extra bonus, but trust me, you don't even need this. For our chest piece, we are using Font of Might, which is going to give us a 25% damage boost to our solar weapons whenever we pick up a solar well. This does stack with Radiant because I have tested it already, meaning you'll be getting a 50% damage buff to your solar weapons whenever you pick up a well and use your melee on an enemy, and combine this with the resistant modes of your choice. For our legs, we are going to be using Well of Life again. Now this stacked up with Elemental Time Dilation is going to give you that nice 16-17 seconds of constant health regeneration. Now because we are going to be flying around a lot and throwing grenades in the air and just running around like crazy Pyromancers, then this comes very clutch for keeping you alive. We are pairing this with Recuperation for that extra heal whenever we pick up an Herb of Power. Once again, you can swap this out with a Scavenger of your choice. And finally, for our bond, we are using Elemental Time Dilation. This is going to increase the duration of our Font of Might and Well of Life, as well as making both of the Well of Lives that we have in this build stack up together, increasing the duration up to 16-17 seconds. Now, as I mentioned before, if you do not have Elemental Time Dilation, then feel free to swap this for either Seeking Wells or another Elemental Ordnance. Both are very good replacements and are still going to make the build very strong. I'm pairing this up with a Utility Kickstar because it gives you that nice class and ability energy whenever we use it. Now guys, once we unlock the artifact, you are going to be swapping those Utility Kickstars for either Radiant Orbs, which is going to make you radiant whenever you pick up an Orb of Power, Rays of Precision, which is going to make targets ignite whenever you hit them with a Solar Precision Final Blow, or Solar Fulmination, which is going to make your ignitions do increased damage in an increased radius. Now these mods can be very lethal with this build, and they are an added extra bonus. They're not necessary, but they will make the build a bit stronger. Now weapon wise, you're free to use anything you want, however I would recommend sticking to solar weapons, as those are going to get that extra 25% damage from Font of Might. Gameplay wise, this build is very simple to play. All you have to do is get a kill with your charged melee, and then you have infinite grenades for the next 5 seconds. However, in order to get your melee back almost instantly, you need to make sure that you're at least jumping or flying when getting those kills with the grenades. Because with this build, as long as you're in the air, when you get a kill, you're gonna get like 30% of your melee back. Meaning 2-3 kills are pretty much going to recharge your full melee. Now, if you happen to miss your melee or waste it, all you have to do is just jump in the air and pull out your weapon and just kill an enemy or 2, and then you should have your melee back. Once you get those kills with the grenades, you can go ahead and pick up the Solar Well, which is going to give us that 25% damage boost on our solar weapons, as well as a 16 to 17 second constant heal thanks to Well of Life. Now it doesn't end there, you also get another 25% damage boost from using your melee and hitting a target. All you have to do is just hit him, so as long as you hit a target with your melee, you're gonna get the Radiant buff, which is also going to give you another 25% damage boost on top of the Font of Might. Now I recommend you guys use this build up to master content. I feel very confident taking this into something like Master Nightfalls. And that's it for the video guys. Remember to join my Discord, that's where you can find all the dim links, images and links all in one nice and tidy place, as well as a lovely community that you can play with. Don't forget to like and subscribe, that helps me a lot in this content creating journey of mine. Comment down below what video would you like to see next. As always, have a wonderful rest of your day, and I'll see you in the next video.